you saying about me? What do you think I'm doing? What do you think I do, Cole? You just come in here saying
you come in there.
I don't come anywhere, dude. I go. I strictly go.
I've seen you come.
You've never seen... I have not come one time. Never. I've only ever went.
Okay.
The concept of even,
coming is foreign to me.
I would
When
never
somebody
do that.
asks
I
him
would...
to come, he wouldn't do it.
I would say I might go,
I might go, but I'm not
over.
coming.
Definitely.
I'm not coming if. And if he asks if somebody else is coming, I'm not coming if they're coming.
And I'm surely not going to say that they're coming. I would just assume they're going. Because
Going
who really...
to come?
It's all perspective.
Question for the philosophers.
Speaking of going to come, I've been wondering a lot about aliens and when they're going to come. You know why I've been thinking about aliens and they're coming?
Because they're always probing.
Because if you'd remember, at the end of the last episode of the SciFiRebellion Podcast, we referenced a little brief excerpt from a certain survival guide. Now, as you guys know well, this podcast is slowly transforming from something that had something to do with something to do with nothingness now where we're at.
To do something that deals with nothing.
And with that, we're finding a shift towards survival tips. We feel like there's just a huge market out there. I mean, these are
the new focus.
This is some quality tips each week. Wait,
I just wonder.
What was last week leaping from
Leaping.
building? I was gonna say. I thought for a second that I forgot one of the tips, and I was like, I need to go back, study, rewatch previous episodes in case maybe someone watching this now might have missed.
Everyone should do.
Just saying, it's an option.
I just wonder how many lives we've saved.
Hundreds.
If not thousands. If not hundreds of thousands.
7,000. Yeah.
8
that
to
seems
12
lowballing. 8 to 12 million.
Wow.
People. Yes.
I don't want to stroke broadly, but I will.
Don't you dare stroke broadly when we're talking about the aliens coming, okay? It's not your turn to stroke. I'm not allowed to stroke.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stroke. I'm gonna stroke.
Please don't stroke. Please do not.
So does this manual say anything about what if the aliens come like peacefully? They're like, hey, get on my ship.
It's just best to assume they're gonna be.
Are they gonna be? Are we assuming they're hostile?
We're gonna need to. We must refer to the guide.
I
must refer to the guide.
Does the guide make generalizations?
The guide is often very specific. Every time the steps are just super detailed and very helpful.
But apparently the exact steps you need to take in any of the number of situations that are similar to the one that is described.
Winnie, the longer you wait, the more likely I am to be captured because I don't know the steps. Please.
What we're gonna do like a deep dive on this one, because I think there's some good shit in here. Okay. We're gonna go step by step, and I'm gonna I hate to say this, guys, but when I read the steps, there is additional information in each step. It doesn't lead to maybe a more clear understanding. It's basically just restating the step, but I do skip that for context in case someone is like, why does this book exist?
You're just skipping stuff?
No. I've never skipped anything.
You're leaving out information that could save more lives?
This has been a short segment.
Jumping off of trains wrong?
It has been a short segment, and now this is a long segment, so it's important to capture all the
information. How much are you hiding from us, Winnie?
Well, let's just say when I said jump perpendicular to the train, it said some other stuff underneath it. I don't know what all it said, but it said other things. I can reference.
My grandma died from the advice you gave her.
We can perhaps.
She jumped perpendicular, and you're telling me she should have done more?
She could have done more?
She could have?
Regarding the perpendicular jumps.
Okay.
It says, and this is just so that there's no confusion.
The additional. Just space now.
So the step that it said was jump perpendicular to the train, leaping as far away from the train as you can. The additional information it gives is even if you jump from the last car, leap at right angles to the direction of the train. This way, train. Your momentum will not carry you toward the wheels and tracks. What is the alternative there? Like, obviously, you're not jumping directly out into another train.
My dead grandma's the alternative, Winnie.
Well, what did she do? She just, like, hopped? She did, like, a vertical hop, and the train kept
perpendicular? Moving? Well, it was a perpendicular hop. She went away from it.
I feel like she should have maybe, I bet if she knew how to leap from building to building, that would have helped her.
Maybe unless there's more information you forgot to disclose.
We weren't ready for that, simply. People weren't ready. In fact, they're still probably not ready. But it's time. We're getting in there. We're getting in. You know where we're getting?
I want every word
All right, wait, hold on.
listed in that book. Every
I need it.
letter.
We're going to go into the spaceship.
Oh.
We're heading in. We're inside the spaceship now.
Okay. We're in.
Okay. Now, step 1.
Ready.
Do not panic. This is a key. I feel like that should go without stating. There's like some things. They're like, step 1, panic. Lose your mind. You should be in a state of fear. Are you raising your hand?
I am.
Leave.
For all our audio listeners. Does the book mention anything if you were panicking on a spaceship, how to not?
It says you
There's
will die
place
instantaneously. That's all it says.
There's probably another place in the book you would have to refer to, like
if you panic, what do you do?
If you're having a panic attack, what do you do? And that part of the book will help you. So you have to actually refer to that first.
Step 1.
Then after you've done that, calm down, go to the next one, and that will be the alien abduction one, and that will tell you how to actually be useful in these panicky situations.
If we had gone sequential order, from the front, we might have better context. Maybe it's like a story, There's a bit of a narrative inside these survival tips, and we need to keep track of that. So we know not to panic. Okay, I'm going to now provide the extra information. This is never before heard on this podcast until moments ago.
Hope my other grandma can be saved.
The extraterrestrial biological entity, or EBE, may sense your fear and act rashly. Let's unpack that.
Do you say rationally or rashly, as in
racially? Rashly, as in...
Oh, rashly, S-H. I was thinking you're mispronouncing racially, and I was like... I don't know. Okay. Wow. Gotcha.
So, maintain your fear. That's what I was talking about earlier.
They could sense it.
You can
fear make them... Does the book specify whether the fear makes them hungry and more likely to attack, or get
It is
scared?
kind of a good point, though, right? If you were scared of something and it was intelligent enough to be able to sense your thoughts and feelings, unless it was coming with hostile motives, it's not going to be like, oh, that guy's just afraid of me, and then, like, kill you.
I'm gonna kill
it's not like a tiger or something.
Assuming
it can sense emotions.
It's like a horse. You have to get it. You have to get it to calm down a little bit before. But it can still buck and kick. But if you get it to calm down, then you can give her a ride.
Winnie, what you said is similar to like finding a bunny in your backyard and you see it like look at you and like don't like bolt and you're like, shit, I need to kill it. It's scared.
Right. That's I relate directly to that specific story
I've
too.
Killed every bunny that
all the time. I'm locking eyes with here on a college campus. There's these squirrels, and I'll just be in the morning, walking down the path, listening to some nice music. I see the squirrel. The squirrel sees me. Squirrel doesn't see anything else after that. That's all I gotta say. Draw your own conclusions.
It was scared. What was I to do?
Draw your own conclusions, but my stores of nuts expand by the day.
Damn.
I follow him back to the crib, and then I grab, I get what's good. I get what I need out of him.
You get all the nuts.
Every nut. Not
when he gets what he needs, but not what he deserves.
I get a bit of both.
Step 3.
Then we're on step 2. That was just
that was step
context
1
for step 1.
Oh yes, thank you.
So this book is supposing, maybe that's just like an in case. They're like, we don't know shit about aliens. They might be able to read your thoughts. That's kind of valid.
It's good to try to cover as many bases as you can.
Oh, I predicted the next step accidentally. Step 2, control your thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because if it can read your mind, you don't want to be like, I need to murder this. Like, shit,
I need to. It has boobs.
Like, I need to figure out,
all
can I
control
kill
your
it?
thoughts? But then that would imply that the alien has like some sort of knowledge about the culture of things. Because you could think about like killing a cow because you're a farmer, but it's gonna think that it might think that you're like a psychopath because it just sees you killing something.
That is true. That is a good point, actually.
But maybe if it could read your thoughts, it could interpret your culture.
Yes.
It senses your feelings associated with said actions.
These are some intelligent aliens. There's a lot of suppositions made.
We should get a tip about how to diagnose an alien and what kind of factors and abilities it might bring to the table.
What if the alien's like hot and like I'm just trying to hide that like,
or like
she hot.
Oh.
She hot. And I'm just trying to. I'm embarrassed that I'm of these feelings. I'm trying to hold it back, but can she still read my mind? Then
can you not?
What if I'm trying to hold it back?
You need to just go in horny jail for a little bit.
Stop sexualizing aliens.
I'm just saying. What if they were attractive? What if they just like looked like hot babes?
Sounds like. You would.
I think you've been in Miami for too long, Jarod.
Interstitial love. I would say actually that's probably one of the best. Well, not like desire, but like if you were just like peace and positive, you would have to focus on like it'd be like meditation. You'd be like, I am open. Peace. What
if you like just were completely not brain dead, because then you'd be dead. But like, what if you were like just kept everything off your mind, like just blank, and the alien's like, I got nothing to go on here, Chief. I don't like I can't.
This guy's kind of freaking me out, man. Yeah. He's not big about nothing.
Is he reading my thoughts? Yeah.
Yo,
that's possible. So Sep, is there any
the extra context? We're gonna
extra context, please.
Okay. We kind of called this. Do not think of this is just more theories. We're making theories about their descriptions now.
Yeah.
Do not think of anything violent or upsetting. The EBE may have the ability to read your mind. Oh, shit. Try to avoid mental images of abduction, boarding the saucer, anal probes. Such images may encourage them to take you. They're like, should we take him? And in your head, you're like, anal probe, and they're like, oh, this guy's gonna be sick.
He's ready.
This guy's ready to party.
I thought that was coming from the mindset of we were already abducted, so we have to not think about it. It's weird that it's just saying, hey, in general, don't think about anal probing in case an alien's about to abduct you. It seems like
why, if you are thinking of that, are they more likely to take you?
Like what he said, they're like, "Oh, this guy's down. This guy's down the clown.
They seem like it would be more like scientisty than let's just go probe.
That's what kind of alien we're coming across here.
You think these aliens are like frat guys that are just like, yo, let's go probe you?
Exactly what I think. That's exactly what I think.
Yeah,
it's more than just probing.
Spring break.
It's a whole thing. They have a whole ceremony.
It's not probing to them, it's a lifestyle.
It is. It takes a while to get used to.
It's much more than just probing.
Dude, come on.
It's so much more than just anal exploration.
It could be magical.
I think this is a good point, though, because, I mean, we're heading into this with the idea that you don't want to be abducted.
Yeah.
So you don't know anything about these aliens. You're assuming for some reason they can read your mind and that they want to abduct you. So if you're heading into the situation with this knowledge, by definition, you're way more at risk. So we're putting everyone at risk.
Stop reading the book. Stop reading the book.
We're gonna keep reading it, but
we're gonna keep reading, but nobody watch the rest of this video.
That's what
like.
I
How
would
can
think.
we convince them to want to hang out?
I wouldn't. I think I would. I think I'd panic. I would forget step 1, guys. I gotta be honest.
Come on.
Book is useless.
Step 3.
Dude, okay, let's hear it.
Resist verbally. Stop.
Verbally. I don't think that's how you talk to your friends.
Wait, how? Control your thoughts. Don't think of the abduction and stuff. And then maybe it's like assuming step 2 fails.
Yeah.
Like there's a chance you just don't panic and then you're fine.
You shouldn't do all of these.
That. You can just walk your way out of that situation.
Or if you could compound these ideas and you have to detest verbally, but remain calm and not think about anything. So you're just like, I would not like to be abducted.
But you can't say, you don't want to, I think you just have to say, leave me.
Stop.
Leave me.
This is like saying, like, if you put up a good enough fight, you'll be too much for them. Like, I'm pretty sure if they want you, they're gonna take you. So just don't think of anal probing, and you're good.
Ever, in case you're abducted or you're about to be abducted. We don't know the telepathic range of the aliens.
We don't.
This next step is crazy, guys. This shit is crazy.
This is where
Step
we're
4.
gonna learn our step.
Resist mentally.
Isn't that kind of like what we were doing first?
We controlled our thoughts. But now, listen to this. Picture yourself enveloped in a protective shield of white light or in a safe place. Telepathic EBEs may get the message.
So it's like how I was.
I am in the white space. You cannot abduct me.
Dude, that sounds exactly like how, like, when you're little, if you stay under the blanket, then the monsters can't get you. There was actual monsters. They would just destroy you.
Maybe
like,
that could be your
mess up with
protection,
that blanket.
Alternatively,
impenetrable blanket.
Alternatively, the blanket is an excellent protection method against monsters, as none of us have ever been attacked. I've never. So I see. Either,
You're right.
You know, it's one or the other. Monsters don't exist, but you know, the bad thing here is if you
I've
go.
also never been attacked by a polar bear, but that doesn't mean.
But we know polar bears exist.
Wait, hold on, Cole. I want to see where this analogy concludes. I'm very interested.
What I'm saying. Because your thing is never gonna happen, and my thing's way more likely to happen because it's real.
No, because we know where the polar bears are. And what I was going to say is, listen, if you operate under the supposition that monsters don't exist and you discard your blankets, you're liable to just get killed. So
just because it hasn't happened doesn't mean it's never going to happen.
There's nothing wrong with using the blanket, and you know, based on
protected
prior
against monsters.
You're safe. So
sure, if we want to take that path towards you being right, then I guess.
I think this
it's
is
not
like
about being right, it's about being safe.
Religion as well.
I was thinking the safe thing. I just didn't want to bring it up.
It is the exact same thing.
You could just do this and your life would be fine. Or you could run the risk of not. And meet a horrible end.
Oh, God.
I just don't like the false pretense of that. Like, getting attacked by a polar bear is way more likely than getting attacked by a monster. Monsters live under your bed, something you encounter daily.
Every day.
Polar bears live in the Arctic, and I don't know about either of you guys, but to my knowledge, I don't know anybody that's visited the Arctic. Maybe at the Philadelphia Zoo, somebody could get attacked. You'd be more likely there. Imagine a bed in the Arctic.
You could possibly get attacked in Canada.
Odds double. A bed in the Arctic, you run the risk of being attacked by a monster and a polar bear at the same time, bro. Same time. If you have a blanket, though, you might be better
50% off. 50% safe.
50.
You're back to just the polar bear.
33.2%. You're back to just the polar bear. And hypothermia.
There's a couple other.
There's a couple of other factors.
You're gonna need way more than one blanket.
Details. It's like a heavy. Imagine you get the world's largest blanket. I feel like that'd probably do the trick.
That might. It might protect you multiple layers. You know, wrap yourself up, like lie down in the blanket and then just roll for a while.
Hey Jamie, look up world's largest blanket.
I'm gonna guess it's well, it's probably a record, right? So it's probably like miles long.
Yeah, it's probably not like very what's it called?
Don't click on an ad, Cole.
Efficient.
If we're going by crochet, the largest crochet blanket is 17,188 meters squared.
Meters? Who are we? I can't visualize meters.
Oh, 185,016 feet squared. Square footage.
Square. Okay, square footage.
That would be plenty of polar bear protection.
That's a lot.
And monster protection.
Yeah, that's a lot of blanket.
You could build an epic fort with that.
Just put it up on a couple sticks. You got yourself a circus.
I think you might need a few more than a couple sticks.
Cover like
Drop it over a forest, and that'd be a pretty sick thing. Although it'd be crochet, and on that kind of scale, you'd have to wonder if they use like large scale crochet, so the holes are huge, or if they still kept it really crocheted, so the holes are still.
It's
really
just like rope. It's
yeah,
just
yeah. You don't know.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Is it like
have massive holes or a ton of really tiny holes?
I'd say
have to argue which would be better for monster protection.
Yeah, maybe it was like a torch being passed down. Like just every time somebody got bored of crocheting this thing, another little old lady would come up and be like, "I'll go." And it's just like made by thousands of old ladies that all work
women
together.
Across America. Maybe my grandma, who's no longer with us, got to turn
out. Right. Call back to
I won't let Winnie
grandma
not feel the anguish for what he's done.
You know, enough lives have been lost. Enough lives. We need to focus on delivering the life. This is okay.
Every second loss is another.
There is only one more
What's the book called?
This book sucks. It's the worst case scenario survival handbook.
We can be
travel.
The worst case scenario handbook travel guide Rebellion podcast.
You know that really just rolls off the tongue. Wait, hold on. Worst case. The worst case.
Worst case
podcast.
Case.
That's like not that bad. That's like kind of a good podcast.
Kind of got a ring to it.
Wait, anyone that's watching and we're thinking about a name change potentially, because of sci-fi. We've rebelled against sci-fi long enough.
It was in our nature.
Long enough. We were under the empirical rule of the sci-fi gods, and so we rebelled. For 10 long episodes, we stood and we talked about Bad Batch, but no longer. Our rebellion was a success.
Let's talk about Bad Batch.
But we don't know how to resist. Yeah, we're not. We're not doing it. God. Bad Batch.
What's the
step 5? This is the last step. This is the final step. This is the only step. And then it actually does provide additional. It has how to report a UFO sighting, which is more steps than avoiding an abduction. But maybe it's because they're like, we actually know what to do in this situation, and this other one is just crazy.
Yeah, all theoretical.
We're shooting in the dark.
Every other step is like, oh yeah, by the way, this step also has a little telepathic footnote.
Yeah.
In case. What about other powers? What if it could shoot fire? This book addresses none of that.
What if it
only telepathy?
What if in order it to talk to me, it has to like take over my body and tell my consciousness or something? What do I do then? How do I deal with that?
Resist mentally.
Verbally say no.
Go into the white envelope.
Use a blanket.
I don't want you in here. Leave.
No
this
thoughts.
Fifth step, though, resisting physically. And it says
verbally, mentally, physically is the final step.
Physical is the final. It says physical resistance should be used only as a last resort. Go for the EBE's eyes if they have any. you will not know what its other more sensitive areas are. So we're assuming that the eyes.
Toss this book aside.
We're assuming
this piece of trash.
This book is.
Assuming giant alien eyes, and they're just gonna be big old targets that I can just like karate chop. What am I gonna
put your hands in right?
Barely.
Yeah, instead of going like that, you're
like shovel him right through the head.
And like
why would I ever
other sensitive areas in case you just want to like go like at it like a boxing bag and just kind of like hit it all over the place and see if you find anyone new, and then report that to the place that you reported the abduction.
Oh wait, yeah, I forgot. I still need this.
Dude,
stayed open.
That is probably the most useless guide for information I've ever heard.
We don't need to talk about how to report a UFO sighting. We can just talk about UFOs.
I wonder when Winnie bought that book, if it was just like, if he had any idea how much it would
change my life,
future events, change your life in those specific circumstances, or on a much more real basis, making it to the podcast and being such a crucial element of what we talk about.
It really is vital.
That's really what people come here for, is the advice.
It's the worst case.
Next up advice is dating advice.
Nope.
So that's what our future content will be primarily focused on.
All dating advice.
My best tip to getting
we're all very successful.
In 2020, in 2021, I don't want to say a girlfriend or a boyfriend, a lover, is to first off poke them in the eyes.
Poke them
in the eyes.
Something
that way.
A young say,
I lost my sight when you lost yours.
Wow.
And
starting off with aggressiveness.
I can't name a girl that hasn't worked.
It's a tactic for sure. Is it a good one? No, it's not.
That's why Cole always dates blind girls, because he's either found them, said that joke, and it didn't land still because their eyes never worked in the first place.
I've never done that to a blind person because that'd be disrespectful. I only do it to the people that can see.
They're just blind after he does it.
Yes, I've left plenty people blind. Just nobody I've encountered that already is blind.
Yeah. He's an expert with blind people, so that's what he's got in his bio.
I try to make the world blind.
Really good.
They can truly see.
People.
Cover the eyes of the world, everybody. Just cover your eyes. Everybody, close your eyes. Everybody in the podcast, close your eyes.
Including Tanner, if you're driving, close your eyes.
We're getting off of the spaceship. We've walked off. Now it's time to have an existential crisis about UFOs and aliens. Open your eyes. I didn't open my eyes. Shit. I don't remember how to open my eyes. I think I might still be in the UFO. I think I'm trying to mentally resist. I'm trying to
stop.
Stop.
There you go.
Physically hit their eyes. Go for the eyes.
Nothing works.
Wait, did you mentally resist? That comes first.
I tried everything, guys.
Did you think of alien probing you? Because I heard that's bad news.
Let's just say there's a reason I have to slouch right now.
How much did it destroy your butt?
Maybe due to the anal probing. What do we think about UFO? I mean, aliens. It is wild. I think that we live in this time when it was like 20 years ago, or even like I feel like 10 years ago, the concept of UFOs, aliens, was strictly sci-fi. Like, not to say that there weren't sightings or what have you, but if you talk to the layman, they have no interest in it. There's no thoughts about it. There's no context necessarily for like even ideas about it. And then now we have like government releases. We have constant sightings and stuff that are very different, I think, than how they have been in the past. Probably just because of our camera quality getting marginally better.
And people now, being able to like show some sort of proof.
Yeah, and it's being talked about on the news, on the internet. It's everywhere now. It's like just in and of itself, that progression, I think, speaks to maybe a more accurate reflection of actually what the issue is, and the fact that it is real. I think
it's weird how much it's integrated with everything, yet not a single conclusion has been drawn, which is the nature of UFOs, because the U stands for unidentified. But it's just weird that it's like the government straight up was like, oh yeah, we don't know. I think it was like 3 specific instances that they're like, we got nothing, we don't know. And it's strange. Like the world was just like, oh, okay, that's weird. Anyway, I'm gonna go file my taxes for 2020. It's like there could be aliens.
Yeah,
dude, it's disgust. I don't know. It's weird. But realistically, what could we do about it?
That's the thing.
Well, nothing.
Like that tribe on I don't know what island that is. That's like unconnected from the rest of the world. Like they've only ever lived in
I think.
Yeah, Sentinel Island. Sentinel or something like that. Yeah, that whole island. Like, what can they do about us visiting? Whether it's just like some like boat that accidentally rolled up there, or whether it's like a helicopter or like a mobile navy base. Like, what can they do? Nothing. They just have to be like, oh, they visited us, we can draw our own conclusions.
Yeah.
But they're just so much more advanced that there's just nothing we can do.
Well, yeah, because like I was talking about traveling to other places where life could be is so far out of normal expectations and like what's like easily possible. Like for our race to even meet some of those people, it would be like 2 generations in the future. So it wouldn't even be you. You'd just be the start of the journey, the middle of the journey, or the end of it. So like
it's always hard to tell with that though. I mean, like any of that could change at any time, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We have to like
UFO
make some sort of huge
building,
breakthrough
like right
with traveling in space to be able to make it a big deal for us to go out and explore. But for all those other, if there's UFOs, then like, I mean, first of all, UFO is only just an unidentified flying object, so
typically associated with like aliens. So
usually
I don't know many people that bring up
aliens.
UFOs and aren't also talking about space.
Yeah,
in this
but
context,
I mean,
we're talking just about aliens.
Yeah.
Assuming it's an alien in the crowd.
Assuming it's an alien, yeah. Like I don't really know what we also have no idea if they even find us interesting. So like, is there even like a point worth stopping here?
I feel like everything
enough for them
is
to
interesting. I feel like our main drive as like living beings is to like explore, whether that's like information or a career or the world. Like it's all about exploring. And so I feel like generally if aliens are traversing the cosmos, they'd be exploring and be, even if it's like something stupid.
What if we're boring?
Well, like people,
What if they don't
people
like
think people study rocks.
Boring. We're still just stuck on this planet, right?
Yeah, but maybe that's what's interesting to them. Is that they're like, why have these guys not?
Why people go to a zoo? Like,
that would be all it would be, I think. Unless, of course, there is some sort of massive conspiracy behind everything, and they're just like manipulating the government, living under the oceans. Have you seen those videos? The UFO that's like, and then it just goes underneath. Where's it going? What underwater base?
Where's it going?
If assuming that this is a crazy concept, like assuming their crafts and stuff can withstand the pressures of space travel at like faster than light speed, then the pressure of the ocean would be like nothing at all, or at least probably to some extent, I would think.
I mean, so,
and we've only explored like a very small percentage of the ocean.
I'm not sure that's how. Well, I mean, maybe UFOs could do that, but like our version of spacecrafts are like fragile.
Well, they would be operating under a totally different set of physics and
that's what
rules
I'm saying.
That we don't use.
I just think it's funny in like sci-fi movies when like there's like some sort of ship and it'll go like wheels will pop down, it'll drive, or it'll fly, it'll go all the way into space, and it'll go underwater. It's like, oh, so we can just do everything.
Yeah.
Like it's not specifically designed for something like that.
Crazy.
Which is just weird. Crazy times.
I think aliens, assuming they're real, like their visitation of Earth, I think could be for any number of reasons, right? Like realistically, it could be a point where they could collect some sort of natural resource that Earth has in an abundance of, and they're able to look for that across the galaxy.
Because there's anything. Like on all sorts of planets, there's like, I guess it'd have to be. I feel like if any reason they came to Earth, it would be specifically for us, because you can find planets where there's not life, and there's an abundance of those types of resources that are just like actually untouched because no like living shit can step foot on that planet. But if they have the sophisticated technology, they should be able to. So I feel like if they did come to Earth, that's not a potential.
You can't say that that's the only reason they would come to Earth. Like, and honestly, humans,
not the only reason, but I just think that'd be
literally what you just said. But humans,
I think that'd be
humans. I think would be one of the reasons. I think that there's probably realistically, assuming, if we're basing the conversation under the supposition that aliens there's more than one, right? It's not like there's us and then like one other species. Then realistically, just like Jarod said, assuming it's not just the one species that is flying around, which would be crazy to imagine. If we're assuming there's aliens, we're assuming the likelihood, not to go into all that, but by having the alien come to the planet, I think you're clearly showing that this is it could be coming for anything at all. It could be literally anything at all. I think humans wouldn't necessarily stand as an exciter if there's other species that are also traveling interplanetary. Like, if we're talking about just observation of the peoples, it would be boring in that situation. Other than just to be like, it is a zoo, and this species is at this stage in development or what have you.
Unless we're the first other life that they've actually come across.
Or that, yeah.
Like there could be plenty out there, but we're the first ones that they were like, yo, let's go see these guys. Like, these are people.
Let's check them out.
Yeah.
You want to go over there?
Which is why I think, like, them coming to our planet, unless they're here for the resources, I'm not under the assumption that's just instantly going to be like, oh, they're going to try to wipe us out.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Weird.
Which is,
maybe throughout time, that's what happened.
Right? Assuming that UFOs have been here, we have to assume that they're not at least instantaneously interested in slaughtering us, unless time just works differently for them and they're like actually about to be here right now. Oh shit. Oh shit. I'm panicking.
Don't panic.
Why?
Resist
I feel like
mentally. Put on a blanket. Crochet.
I feel like aliens would be, I don't know why, this might be too positive, but for the most part, more just trying to figure things out than I'm gonna blow everything up and take over. Like, if they want a resource and they're that smart, they wouldn't have to waste their time destroying the whole planet. They would just get their resource and leave.
Exactly.
And then, because it would be so much more energy just to destroy everything on the planet.
By that same logic, though, assuming that it did make it easier for them to collect the resource if everyone's dead, they would just kill everybody.
Sure, I mean, it depends we are going back to, it depends what the resource is. Like, if the resource is found all over...
Human blood.
Human blood, then that's going to cause some problems.
What if it's our DNA?
We've got a vampire race coming
we're
down.
the only other race that they've discovered, so they're, like, trying to figure out, like, get to the bottom of us and, I don't know, not produce us, but, like, figure out how our DNA evolved differently or whatever. But they wouldn't need everybody for that. Just
no, that would be that'd be an abduction.
Maybe you could get like a few
couple anal probes max.
And like a few hundred sounds like a lot, but in the grand scheme of our population, like.
What do you think the concept of anal probing comes from? What's up with that?
Yeah. Who invented the first like sci-fi story where like they're like, yo, they grab you and then they shove something up your butt? Like, who was like, they want to like harvest organs? And they're like, nah. Like right up the butt.
Like, what's in there? What's inside?
The guy's like, of course it goes. Yeah, it's like, of course.
They're just checking your rectal health. It's like an examination. They're like, all right, you're good.
Like, we know you won't do it yourself, so we gotta get freaking aliens to come.
You've put off your prostate exam for the past 3 years, Mrs. Johnson.
It's
trying to contact you about your car's extended warranty.
It's like a TV show for aliens where they just abduct humans. They're like, this person hasn't gotten one in 2 years. Well, we're here today. We're gonna give them one.
Alien way.
Yeah.
Prostate exam.
Yeah. And then they clean it and they're like, this guy's got cancer.
And everyone's like, boo.
Oh.
And then they kill them instantaneously.
They just say bye.
Cancer.
So the only people that remember are clean.
Yes.
Prostate.
Yes.
I think what's a far more interesting topic of discussion is why we haven't detected life so far. Could be from a number of reasons, from our technology not being the detectable kind, like maybe they're undetectable just to our specific technology. Maybe we're the first life in the universe, or I don't know, it's just scary. Like I think they call it like the great filter is a theory that's like either we already passed it and that's why we're the only life we can detect because we are the first life to actually get to this level, or it's ahead of us and every advanced life before it gets like crossing stars, it crumbles because of something that is just inevitable with life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw that somewhere. Because it has to be, it's got to be one of the two. Where they're either the first or just
it's
another.
The best explanation for why we can't detect any other alien life beyond the fact that like it'd be like if somebody was trying to use Morse code to like in the middle of the ocean to try to contact us. Like a lot of our technology doesn't even read that stuff anymore. So it's like they're screaming at nothing.
It definitely is technological limitations because like if we're picturing a world in which we're not limited technologically and we're trying to find life, it would be like we scan the galaxy and then we scan the whole universe. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be like us trying to be like, well, we sent a probe out in 1960 and it's now like this far out of, you know, it's almost the speed at which they travel now, even the one like the long-term ones, even the newest ones that are getting launched that are for these deep space missions, it's like relying on
gonna be
orbital spins and stuff to try and get as far as it can. And like they're working on solar sail technology that would be for like a really long journey. I don't know if it's already been sent out or not, but it would be a really long satellite journey that could kind of sustain itself and keep going for like further than they normally can. But even then, like we're looking in relative to the universe, we're looking in such an incredibly small region. Like we've all seen the maps where it's like the universe is infinite, and then it's like and it's like that's we have no.
If the universe is infinite, then we're looking at an infinitely small region.
Well, even if the universe itself is not infinite, because it does have bounds. We're literally a speck of a speck of a speck, and we're like, no life here, probably no aliens, I guess. It doesn't make sense. And in all of the calculations that they do, I forget what there's a word for it, but there's this calculation that it uses a bunch of different points of statistics to determine the likelihood of the existence of other species, other aliens rather, within the universe. And they, by doing like really, really low estimates for numbers in there, you can still see that like it would be extremely unlikely for us to be the only ones. And it's more than likely what would really change the paradigm with that calculation would be if we can find life within the Milky Way. The whole like statistic would be changed because we're basing it now off of there being one species or one sentient life form or whatever in this galaxy, and like by that number even just increasing by one, the odds of there being like tons and tons and tons of other aliens in the universe is way higher.
We're getting an incredibly small and biased sample size. Like we're judging like this is clearly what our only example, unfortunately, but this is clearly what we know life could look like. But by that definition, this is the only life that we think it can develop this way. Yeah. So they're always talking about like habitable zones on like certain planets and like needing to find water, but like we could have the fundamental ideology of like what classifies a life completely wrong. And like like you said, there could be life on every planet in the Milky Way galaxy that we just are like, oh, we didn't classify that as life, so we weren't really looking for that, so
yeah.
Okay. It's weird. It's an interesting topic of discussion. I think they said that the next like
they always look for like actual water sources on planets because they're like, oh, well, if there's water there, it's very possible. And I mean, water usually does come with life. Yeah, in the form of liquid. In the form of liquid. Yeah, because usually if like if it's kept at a certain temperature, it can harvest like a lot of just like naturally growing organisms and stuff. But
yeah,
I think that's why they more look for water, just because it is more likely that they know that it can get more organisms. But like you said, it could be due off of anything.
What if we are the first life in the universe? And like, if anything, I think this would make me believe in God way more. But if we are the first life in the universe, and like our destiny is to like grow and expand across the stars, and then obviously evolution still being a thing, would kick in on each place that we've stopped and set up like a colony or something like that. It'd just be really interesting to see like how societies and like physically
in different
worlds, and then they would like instead of being like, oh, like I'm a man that lives in Lancaster right now, and that's Winnie who lives in Pittsburgh, and Winnie or Jarod
you just doxed me, bro. You just fucking doxed me. What
Shit.
The fuck, dude?
And Jarod lives in Florida. That's a much okay. Winnie and I live in Pennsylvania. Jarod lives in Florida, and there's like some things
we all live on the planet Earth. That is all you need to know, everybody. We're coming at you live from South Sudan.
Some things. Like there's some traits that might be like, oh, that's how you're distinguishable from there. But we all look human and relatively the same. Like we have. We all have two. We have two eyes. We have two eyebrows. We have one nose. We have hair. We're wearing shirts.
Cole, I hate to interrupt you, but Jarod and I, we have something that we want to bring up with you. You know, before the podcast, we were talking about just the whole UFO abduction thing. And we were just skimming through the book, and there was a section in there about alien identification. And I mean, Jarod, do you want to say it or?
No, you could say it.
we're pretty worried that you might not be a human. We're worried you might be Italian.
He's out.
Well,
we were on to him, and he had to get out of there. Welcome back.
For all the audio listeners, I just threw my headset and jumped to the side off camera.
Yeah, it was really a certain feat. It was pretty magical. You alright? You gonna bounce back from that one? Get your little robe
I know.
Yo, what is this blanket of robe? What blanket towel?
My legs are cold. I know many of you have been suspecting, wondering for a very long time. You've all had your suspicions. I've just been afraid to confront it. But I'm Italian.
Ah, well done. Wait.
I know. It's coming a bit of a shocker to me too, but
you know,
it had to be said eventually.
Jarod was saying he was just like, I hope it's not true. You know.
I wish it wasn't. You have no idea the kind of life and peril I've seen.
From my mama and my papa.
Never again will I look at you the same way. I'm gonna look at you this way.
If aliens came down, they would easily be Italians. Like, and they came down and integrated into our society. That's where I feel like the Italian people actually come from.
What if they came down and like we were kind of like famous in the universe because people just like love to watch us and they just like watched everything and they just came down with like certain things that they just like loved and like just stereotyped the hell out of our like race and they just came down with like I don't even know just
I love Earth
shirts. Yeah, I love Earth shirts and
they're like some aliens like, yo, you gotta go check out Earth, dude. They're wild down there.
Yeah.
Yo, who would be like a prime abduction for the aliens? You know what I mean? They can pick one person to abduct, and they're like, we need the best person for this. Who are they picking up?
That like shows humanity.
Yeah. Like peak human.
The most human.
The most
better and for worse, or just for like the most ideal human, or the most real
or the most,
human?
like human.
The most human. I'm worried about why does your most human answer already sound controversial?
Because I feel like there's a lot of innate things about humanity that aren't great. But if we pick like,
doesn't
we
mean
pick, like,
you have to demonstrate the bad things.
But would you want? You would want to, because you don't want to be like, this is what we are, for better or for worse. But you could be like, this is what a human could be, or you're like, this is more likely what they are.
I'd give them like Robert Downey Jr. because we can show him the beginning of his career and the end of his career. That's a mix of both. That's a mix and
of
just
both.
Be like, listen, see, we have some good times, we have some bad times, but overall, you know, we're all just trying to work together to get some money.
Like you can show the highest of the high and the lowest of the lows all in one human.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like Betty Crocker.
Betty Crocker.
Is she?
That's an interesting one. She might like sweeten the load.
Betty Crocker lives and she's strong and healthy as far as I'm aware.
Betty Crocker?
If Betty Crocker's dead, I'm done with the podcast, boys.
Isn't that like the cook during World War II or something like that?
What? Is Betty Crocker alive?
Are you thinking of
Betty Crocker's still alive? I don't know who you're thinking of, dog. Betty Crocker is the one that's making like mashed potatoes like in a box.
Some person that like fed the soldiers in like the Civil War or something like that. I don't know.
She was famous. She's an old famous war story.
All the viewers, can you please let me know who I'm thinking of in the comments below?
You're thinking of Bertram Crocker.
Yeah, that's it.
I think she'd be great though, because you send her up, they're like, so what's Earth got? And then she's like, I'm about to cook you a meal. And they're like, what do we need? And she's like, we hit in the grocery store. And then the aliens have to have this dope ass Earth experience where they're like, so much diversity of food. The aliens sound like robots in this situation as well. But then she brings them back to the spaceship, and she's like, now I need a kitchen. And then that was the alien voice for Betty Crocker. That was because they've become such good friends and they've been together so long that her accent is starting to fade and she's starting to have a new accent.
Or would the aliens start to talk like Betty Crocker?
Well, let's just say they might start talking a bit like this. And
a little bit in the middle.
So then she's like, I need the kitchen stuff. And they're like, all right, but we can't go back to the United States. So then they have a trip to like Africa, and she gets some like handmade like bowls and stuff, and the aliens are like, my goodness, this continent is really lacking a lot of natural resources. Why would anyone settle here? And then they get to go back to the spaceship, and then it's chefing time, and Betty Crocker's about to be cooking some crazy shit.
What if they don't have mouths?
Well, that's the thing. Betty Crocker's food is so strong that just by looking at it, smelling it, anything, maybe they touch it, they do a little like.
What if they don't have eyes and noses?
They just touch it and they're like, yes.
What if they like absorb the food through their through just their pores?
Their pores. There's like.
They just lay their hands on something and it just like slowly gets dissolved.
Betty, we like this food, but could you make something that is more easily sucked?
Dude, that'd be cool if they could like eat people too, so they just like they're touching your face, and then you just like start getting absorbed. It
yeah.
be cool.
That'd be like some acid type skin.
Yeah, and then you're part of the alien.
Have you seen Cowboys and Aliens? Cowboys versus Aliens?
Is it Cowboys
and Aliens? Or...
Cowboys versus Aliens.
The fingers. That shit was so cursed as a kid. When the kid gets cornered, and then the alien's just like. That was nightmare fuel as a child. I was probably like 12 when I saw it too, but it was still nightmare fuel.
How are the Cowboys going to keep up with the aliens? Oh, because the Cowboys get alien technology. Okay, so they wouldn't actually keep up with the aliens.
Yes.
It's something that can travel at light speed versus a guy on a horse, quite literally 1 horsepower.
Has a lasso. Actually, 1 horse is far more than 1 horsepower. I'm about to blow your mind. How many horsepower do you think a horse is?
3.2.
How many horsepower is a horse?
Should be 1.
Blow my mind.
Should be a direct translation. I would hope 1, but I'm gonna guess.
An average workhorse achieves a maximum of just under 15 horsepower.
Wow.
Now it begs the question: where did they get the term? Did horses used to be like just some bitch ass horses, and they were like they've just slowly they've outdone themselves little by little, and now we have these like epic horses that
champion
are gods.
horses. Or like the one guy that made the term was like, he was like, all right, well, this is my horse. You can do this power, and then he got to see other people. So he coined the term though.
Man, my horse fucking sucks.
Yeah, he gets to see other people. And he's like, God damn, I need a new horse.
My horse is
maybe there was a guy that just like was like he would rate horses, so they would have this much power. And then they were like, oh yeah, this one's like a 7 power, this one's like a 10 power. And then
you get 15 though.
And well, and then
for 1 horse.
It caps off at 15 power that a horse can have.
That didn't even cap off. He said the average horse. So like, where does it 30?
Well, you breed horses. Over time they got better. Okay, you know. Then all of them were spitting out. We've just got 15 after 15.
I find it hard to believe that you could take like 30 shitty horses, and that they would like. You could take 1 horse that's like amazing, and 30 shitty horses. I feel like it would lean in favor of the 30 horses, even if they're shitty.
You haven't seen some shitty horses.
Apparently.
You breed good horses with good horses to get good horses.
I mean, we're talking.
So if there's one good one in the 30 shitty ones, you breed that one with another good one.
That's why the horse cum is so expensive.
Average horses.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why horse cum is very expensive.
I would know, because I looked up how expensive it was one time.
Yeah.
How did you think I know, you sick fuck? You think I'm just out here buying horse cum? Is that what you think's going on? I already told you I never cum.
I've seen your browser history, Winnie.
You haven't seen it. You haven't seen my history.
Horse cum is on your mind.
You don't know me.
When an alien detects your mind, the only thing they're going to get is gallons of horse cum.
It'll immediately unload from my mind into my white space. My envelope of white mental protection is just me inside of a bubble. It's a giant.
Well, I was thinking inside a barrel of horse cum, like you're just getting cramped in there.
Sounds.
But it's like it's completely efficient at shielding you from the aliens. He's like,
I would picture something better.
Barrel. Well, it's interpretive. That's where Winnie feels most safe, is surrounded by horse cum.
I think the aliens would leave regardless, because think of how creepy that was. They're like, this guy just turned into a barrel of horse cum. I'm out of here. Like, screw these people. They're nuts.
You gotta catch them off guard. That's the only way to keep them on their toes.
Yeah.
It's the first thing they think of when they see an alien.
A gallon of horse cum.
That's what I think of.
Dude, that would be sweet though if like humans could just, when they got like scared, they could just like turn into something else.
What would you turn into?
Like if I'm trying to hide, I would just turn into like a chair.
But if you saw a chair in the middle of the yard, you'd be like, What could you turn into that would blend in?
Yo, I would start getting so sus about everyday objects. I'd be like, "Are you a person? Is that a person?"
It has to be bigger than a microwave.
That makes sense because microwaves are smaller than a person.
Yeah, it has to be like.
What if it's a baby?
You can't turn it into a person. Oh,
no,
you're saying a baby.
Yeah, a baby.
I thought
I am a person. I don't need to turn into one.
I thought you wanted to turn into a baby. And I was like, you can't turn into a baby.
No.
What's that going to help you with?
What if the baby defensively turned into something? Could a baby turn into like a baseball glove?
As you grow, you can turn into bigger stuff. Well, I guess with that,
but can you still maintain the smaller stuff?
That's
or do you lose that? Is it like a scale that shifts, or is it a scale that just grows?
I think it
like
shifts.
One side remains constant.
I think it shifts. Yeah. Once you get too big, you can't.
A baby though, baby can turn into like a paperclip. You're like, oh, I almost dropped my child. What? How does the re-expansion process work?
That would be so much harder to find your paperclip than your child.
Like if you put the paperclip in a drawer, what happens when the baby's like baby time? You know what I mean? Does it? That was a bad example because that. Yeah,
what happens in Ant-Man?
You get smushed. Like,
thanks.
It depends how well made that drawer is, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
If it grows and then the babies are so soft.
If it's like a magical
process, the baby would just snap.
But if it was like a physical, like scientific process,
I think we've thrown science. Science is long gone. We left science behind when we started to not.
If it's magical, you could just open up the drawer and then the baby would be perfectly fine. But if it was like based in reality, it depends. You put it very well, Jared. It depends on how good the drawer is.
Yeah.
Burst the drawer open, or the drawer, they would just get like
dead, crunched baby.
As crunched as a baby can get.
Jeez. This poor baby.
So, welcome to the new SciFiRebellion Podcast.
So what would you guys turn it into?
I think
then? I think I would still go with like a lawn chair, because that could be found anywhere.
Oh, plus you're just sitting. Like,
yeah,
that's sitting. You have a chair. You are the chair.
I am the chair. I'm sitting.
If you pick a lamp, you're. I wonder.
Standing.
How does? Yeah, I don't know how this would interpret.
Is a lamp bigger than a
microwave? Sensation? I feel like maybe. Yeah,
I would say branch, because that can be found a lot of places.
A branch?
You run the risk, like a big branch. You run the risk of getting
big branch. Burn a lot. I didn't think about somebody hunting me in this.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you were trying to hide out and you were just like a big branch in a yard, somebody eventually one day could be like, "Oh, this would be perfect."
I'm gonna go over there and chop that.
Like, I'm not saying necessarily on a tree, just like lying around. That's tough though. That's a good question.
It is very tough. I'm still thinking about it. Like bigger than a microwave. Lawn chair is definitely great. I think maybe like oh, what about like a motorcycle?
That's not.
But then somebody's like, maybe.
It would have to be like
destroyed.
I'm thinking more of a dirt bike.
I wasn't thinking hiding anymore. I was just thinking what would be cool to turn into. And then what happened is I heard a motorcycle go by, and I was like, I wish I was a motorcycle.
I feel like you could be a dirt bike, but not a motorcycle.
Or what about like a paper airplane?
That's too small.
You're right. That's one.
A full-size airplane.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there and you're like, Boeing 747.
It's like that Rick and Morty episode.
The structural integrity of an airplane, like if it was inside of a drawer, it would definitely just destroy the drawer.
So no, you could turn
it past the drawer test.
A big drone.
Huge drone?
Well, not huge.
Can you control yourself?
Would I get pleasure if I was a plane? Would I get pleasure from people being inside of me?
I was kind of more thinking that like once you were in this form, you couldn't move.
That's kind of that makes it
but
less
you guys
fun.
You're turning it into like
turning.
Well, I was expecting like normal household objects, not a Boeing
737.
And now we're going, and then a motorcycle.
A submarine would be cool too.
Yeah. These things still have to be small. They can't be too big.
Well, you said I could turn into big things as I get older.
Spaceship.
Yeah, bigger things. I mean,
that
I would say a submarine is bigger.
You from like baby size to like adult size. Like adult size is your limit.
You gave me a lower limit. You never gave me an upper limit, Jared. You said
I wasn't saying
gas
that,
be bigger than a microwave. You never said
I
what
live to 100. You can turn into a freaking whale. That's not what I'm saying.
That's not even that big.
Oh,
like,
dude, all people aged 100 turn into whales because whales live super long, and so we just have like this special ocean that's like no pollution, like no bad shit happens in here, and it's like the ultimate retirement home.
Well, isn't it that lobster
age?
So you just turn into a lobster.
And turtles, I think some turtles they just
no,
don't necessarily
die. Live for a really long time.
Not if you're
lobsters apparently literally don't age or something like that.
No, not that they don't age, but they don't die of age.
Yeah, there you go.
But they die
it's
like humans.
I just watched something the other day. It was like people die of old age because of the collection of like cells that either dead from something you did in your life or like are just accumulating, and so it just eventually.
Little did you know you have a health bar, and it's just whittling away every time you scrape yourself.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I wish I could be an inanimate object. God, I'd give anything.
God. I would be, dude. I'm still thinking. I haven't come up with an answer that I'm
like,
that's the best one.
A big frisbee.
Oh, what about
people could throw me?
One of those things that you had in kindergarten where it's like the big sheet
that
everyone holds it, and you're just like, or like
that would be something.
A trampoline.
So you want to be a parachute?
Yeah.
You want to be a parachute.
But a parachute's meant for fun things.
Strictly for that.
Though,
a parachute for children, not
the
for...
The other parachute would be cool too.
Either or. But
then you spend risky.
But you also, like, being a parachute, you can, like, grow, but also collapse.
You can still break in this form.
Yeah, exactly.
Much more risk.
And also, like, you'd spend most of the time, like, parachutes that are used for, like, actually falling are, like, instead of just being able to completely stretch and be open, they're, like, all contracted inside a little backpack and just jammed.
Because, like,
it's fun.
And if you're getting, like, attacked and then you turn into a parachute, like, you never know what somebody's going to do with a parachute.
In that case, if
I'm running away from somebody, I turn into a chair. What are they gonna do? Sit on it?
What are they gonna do? Take a seat? Where'd that kid go? I'm gonna sit on this random chair.
I'm more like, it's the perfect disguise because they're like, oh, well, now I don't see that kid anymore. He must have got away. I need a seat. And he takes his mind off of everything. And then as soon as he stands up, I'm good to go. The only thing I would have to worry about is if, like, the guy running after me was like 500 pounds, then he'd break me. But that's my only fear. It's flawless.
I just thought of something though because of that, which is assuming you can only turn into one object. I wonder if it's the kind of thing where you keep it really private on what you turn into, because you don't want people like seeing the Sharpie when they walk in your house and being like, "Oh, that's young Winne. He's not microwave stage yet, but he's a little Sharpie, isn't he?"
Yeah.
And I would be like, "Fuck, they know." That would be weird. You have a whole private thing, and some people could be cool things, but they like wouldn't say it. A cup, a big, huge cup.
I think you get to decide. Should there be an age where you have to decide your final form?
Yes. Final form? Yes. Like I can no longer transform?
Like you can only
transform. I stay like that for the rest of my life?
You can only transform into that object. Once you get to a certain age, you have to choose one.
In the U.S., it would be 21, and the rest of the world it would be 18.
No, it would be something dumb like 12, so that you could permanently be like, man, I was dumb.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just stupid shit.
People are still really regretting the fact that they turned into a dildo.
For some people, that would be the best kind of life.
I mean,
you gotta be careful whose hands that dildo falls into, though. That's the risk you're taking.
Mm-hmm.
Huge risk.
All right. So not that.
Not a dildo.
I think I cracked this case. I'm good in any situation.
I'm gonna say billboard. I'm sticking with billboard.
Billboard.
As my final answer.
It's gotta be a small billboard.
Yeah. And you're sturdy. Not a lot of people are gonna want to attack you. Usually they're just kind of looked at. I've had paint on me before. You accidentally like draw on your hand sometimes. Same thing.
I mean, they could. Some people put like paintings on over top of you, like.
Oh, that'll look beautiful. Instead of actually conveying some sort of information or advertisement. I'm just saying.
There you go. Cole wants to have paint on him.
I didn't say I want to have paint on me. I just said that I would.
You can't avoid the paint. It's already paint's on its way.
All the paint.
Shit.
You thought you weren't gonna get painted, Cole? Here we are.
I got painted.
There. He always goes to the painting booth and spends like 7 hours there, and they're like, "You can only get one," and so he waits in line like 27 times so he can get his whole body painted.
He's into that the totally naked. He like covers himself up.
Yeah, you know how like they show those pictures like in Guinness World Records where it's like this guy standing against like a grocery aisle and he's like just completely blended in.
Yeah.
I actually quit Bonefish about 2 years ago, and have never worked at the yacht club.
Yeah.
And that's been what I've primarily what I've been doing.
You actually were in that picture of the guy right next to him.
Guy.
No, you weren't that. You were right next to him, and they didn't even notice. No one saw. They were like, that's part of the aisle.
I painted myself to look like a see-through version of the guy who painted himself to look like a see-through version of the wall behind. That way.
That was way more artistic than I thought it was, you know.
Well, you asked what I'd want
congratulations.
to do into anything.
I'm glad that you're finally out and about.
Sorry I have such a decisive answer, and all you guys were like, I don't know what I turn into.
You didn't know. It took you longer than either of us.
I didn't have my stopwatch out. I didn't have my stopwatch out.
That's a chair. Pretty rare.
Jarod nailed it. Jarod nailed that.
I don't think I heard that part. Therefore, that didn't happen. Oh, no. Here we go.
So,
when you picked up the book.
I feel like we've pretty much played out what we're going to turn into in a world where we not only laid out the framework of how this idea would function, but we also went very in depth as to the many positives and negatives. So I hope that people can leave today feeling like they not only know how to foil a UFO abduction, but also it'll give them some time to think and consider what would I turn into if I had to be a larger than microwave object.
But no upper limit.
Scale.
No specified upper limit, evidently.
It's not specified, but it's like
there's one. Jarod just doesn't know what it'd be.
If you think it's
a Boeing 747 is too
big,
much.
It's probably too big.
That's all right, Jarod. You and your fancy little rules.
We were making it up as we go. It's our rules.
It's your rules, apparently. You gave us one, we came up with an answer, and you said, new rule, no.
All right, pick a number between 1 and 4.
7.
Did neither one of you say a number between 1 and 4? Are you shitting me? I'm trying to give options. I'm trying to give the people options. You know, I don't want to force feed them these facts of survival.
People in the comment section, write a number between 1 and 4. And then.
Oh wow, it's a 3.
Oh, the number 3. Oh, how to pass a bribe, everybody. Next week, we're getting ready and we're going to be talking about government corruption.
All right.
This week was
UFOs
and abduction. Next week is how to pass a bribe and government corruption. And every podcast is going to end with a shun from now on, just to keep the rhymes.
Shun?
Now,
at least for the next consecutive 10 episodes.
Before we head out, we had a special request last week in the comments. And this is going out to anybody that made it this far in the podcast. Thank you for watching. What you just listened to was some of the most intellectual individuals of our time. And pretty much some of the most informed opinions. All just really were coming.
Interweb.
Yep. But this comment, it really hit home. It said, "Can you write a song about me?" or something along those lines. And it was coming from a certain listener of ours. Last week we did a special shout out to our friend Tanner. Tanner had his song. He had his moment. But this week, it's Drew's moment. This is the moment of Drew. And so now we all prepared this song just like last time.
Yeah.
Not that. We're sounding a little bit out of tune. We gotta tune it up. Actually, we're just gonna use one string. Drew! Drip, 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 Drew. Thank you for listening, Drew. Thank you for listening.
Drew son or
Thank you. Wow, that was even better than when we practiced it, actually. When we practiced, we kept
actually
hitting
way
flat
better
notes and stuff.
Like that time, it felt like we were really doing it. Versus when we practiced, it didn't even feel like.
Some people are better live. We're just one of them.
Yep, we're one of the great acts of our time. Now, what are we saying? We gotta leave people with, give us recommendation for podcast name. If not, if you like the Worst Case Podcast, I think that's a really good name.
Yeah, I like Worst Case.
I like that.
Yeah, as we try to grow and evolve and fit the needs of our many fans.
Need for speed.
We're just trying new stuff. So we're going to try, as you could tell from this podcast, definitely, and the last one, that we're trying a little bit more of a free-flowing format to make it more accessible to people of all ages and races and genders. We're trying to touch everything and everybody.
I want to touch you.
We want to touch you.
We don't want.
I will not touch you. But
yeah,
and I will report them if they touch you. So
to the same place you would report UFO abductions,
which we don't know because we didn't even cover.
We didn't cover that, but maybe next week.
I knew.
So just let us know how everybody felt, about this new style. If it was more fun, if it was worse. you keep us updated.
It couldn't have been worse.
But always
talk about bad.
Smash that like button. You want to hit that notification bell. Donate to our Patreon to make sure that we can keep these lights on. And by these lights, I mean the sun, because that's where I'm getting mine. So, leave a comment about
a Patreon.
A new name. We need money to pay for a Patreon.
Yeah, we need just send money.
Just send us some money to save up for a Patreon to
start
a GoFundMe to pay for all that.
Yes, to eventually create a Netflix series about the whole process.
I think inevitably the end goal of this podcast saga is to build homes for the orphans. So if you donate to us, know that that's probably what it'll maybe go to.
Way down the line.
Way down the line.
Down. I mean, if you think as far as you can think.
And we won't.
A little bit past that.
We won't.
That'll be our first stretch.
We're gonna take in no money from this until we've saved 7 orphanages.
I thought you were gonna say 7 orphans.
No, you're gonna say $7.
One just shoved in
with will be given directly to the orphans.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes a new episode of
the spaceship. The spaceship is now taking.
Goodbye. And Bad Batch.
No. No.
Wait,
you know
one more thing about Bad Batch.
No more things. I'm drowning you out right now.
No. Bad Batch.
Actually, right now I'm going to cut in a part from Star Wars Episode 1 where they're underwater and Qui-Gon says there's always a bigger fish.
There's always a bigger fish.
And that's the podcast, everybody.